Steam in Romania, 1969, the last year in which the steam locomotive took the lion's share of rail traffic. The Căile Ferate Romane, Romanian state railways, had some 365 of the well-known Prussian P8 locos. Most of them were built in the 30s by the two Romanian locomotive works of Malaxa and Resița. They were always turned out spotlessly, with their brass embellishments all polished. Romania had and still has plenty of oil but no coal. CFR steam locos use a system of dual coal and oil firing. The oil tank is visible on top of the tender of this 460 leaving the station of Bintul de Jos. This system of dual firing was developed by George Cosmovich, a Romanian engineer. Romanians had a great affection for Prussian locos, as the CFR had almost 800 Prussian G10 010Os. Some 400 of these were built in Romania in the early 1940s. The CFR also had 112 of the smaller Prussian standard 080 class G81s, all of which were built in Germany. Romanian numbering broadly followed the French system. Therefore, thus the Prussian P8 460 is their class 230. Leading zeros were deleted, so this 080 is a class 40 and not a 040. Engine and tender could have different numbers. There were also non-German locomotives. In Bucharest we see this 260. Skoda built 80 of them in 1921. After the First World War, Romania inherited many hundreds of these 262s from Hungary. There was just one rack line in Romania. The CFR operated this line with 7 of these 282 tanks. We'll see them later on in the film. The Romanians copied the German Standard Class 50 210. There were some 250 of them. The last one was built in 1959. When these pictures were taken, this engine was only 12 years old. 1969 you could see all those locomotives elsewhere, but for these magnificent machines you had to go to Romania. An ex-German austerity hurries away in the presence of this majestic 284 of Class 142. Francisc and Malaxa built 79 of them to the Austrian Class 214 design. There were elegant Pacifics as well, not just a few, no, they actually had 90 of them. So in 1969 there were plenty of reasons to make a steam trip to Romania. We start in Timișoara. The first pictures to be taken in Romania. Are we going to be arrested? No, the police just were not interested. A standard 262 tank. Francisc built 65 of them from 1939 to 1942. The fuel oil tank can be seen on top of the side tanks. One of these tank engines departs with a passenger train. To be followed a little later by a Class 230. In the middle of the train there's a second engine. A little to the west of Timișoara the train will be split into two. We too depart Timișoara in a northeastern direction. We go to Transylvania. The main line from Sibiu to Cluj is still in the hand of the mighty 142s. The train from Cluj runs into the station of Razvoien. After a brief stop it proceeds on its way to Arad. Razvoien's shunting engine can but dream of mainline running. Today is the 22nd of August, and tomorrow is the Day of the Republic, and the station is being profusely decorated with flags. Another train bound for Arad with loco 142015. Butar, on the north of the Carpathian Mountains. The train for Subsociata arrives. Here in Butar, the rack line to Subsociata begins. The rack loco is being turned for the return trip to Subsociata. The train which has just arrived on the rack line will go on to Kara-Sebeş behind this Class 131 tank. Steam from the loco's boiler is used in a water lifter to pump up water. We join the rack train to Subsociata. From Butar to Subsociata is nearly 25 miles, almost 12 of which are equipped with rack. The rack starts shortly after departure from Butar. The rack uses the ABS system as on the Austrian Erzgebirge line. Alas, no line-side shots as we don't have a car, but we do have two legs. Driver, please slow down. Ukova, a station en route. Portilla de Fier, Iron Gate, summit of the line. From here the rack line descends. The loco runs round the stock. For safety reasons it must always be at the lower end of the train. The rack and adhesion engine was built in 1908 by the Austrian Floridsdorf works. The rack and adhesion cylinders worked independently of each other, and each of the four cylinders took live steam from the boiler. Departure from Portilla de Fier. The rack section ends. There's some shunting here. We have to take these 2 flat wagons with us. Time enough. For 25 miles to Subseciata, the timetable allows us 3.5 hours. Subseciata, the loco has already been detached. Today it is preserved here but not serviceable. Rack operation ended in 1978. In 1969, Romania was a pleasant country with friendly people, cooperative railwaymen, and even the police were kind. Shortly after these pictures were taken, things would change, however. But he's not aware of this. Târgu Mureș in Transylvania was the centre of a 76-centimetre narrow-gauge network with a total length of over 125 miles. The loco, with its auxiliary tender for the long distances it had to run, was built in 1949 at the 23rd of August works in Bucharest. Let's join this train. After 17 miles, the station abandoned. The journey continues. We pass endless fields of sunflowers and picturesque villages. "35 miles, 3 hours and 40 minutes later, Mihaly de Câmpie. Here the narrow gauge ends. The loco and its auxiliary tender are turned separately. Today this system no longer exists. It's been totally lifted. The station of Cluj in Transylvania, it's the 23rd of August, the Day of the Republic, and many locos are decorated. Departure in the direction of Oradea. Arrival from Apahida. The train will proceed to Oradea with the help of a banker, a Class 142. The young loco, only 11 years old. Youth and music belong together. Music is played on the station's loudspeakers, but no disco can beat these scenes. top of the boiler the feed water purifier. And yours truly behind a tripod. The guy with the sunglasses, a secret policeman. But we must have had a guardian angel as well, because nothing happened. As a Class 142 leaves for Aradia, the traditional music gives way to a Haydn symphony. Departure for Apahida. music must give way to the news. Mariano Rusu sells snacks and small Romanian flags on the platform. Please get out of my sight. It's 1969, the Vietnam War is raging, and in the news Saigon is mentioned.
Saigon. Referindu-se la situația din teritoriul controlat de autoritățile saigoneze, primul ministru Gong a recunoscut lipsa de popularitate a regimului militar, afirmând că autoritățile saigoneze nu pot încă
All good things must come to an end. Goodbye, Clush. The Station Square in Sibiu. Loco number and works number are the same. Borzig built her in 1907. train to Burpa is made ready. The 76 cm narrow gauge line from Sibiu to Cornetel and from there to Burpa and Agnita had a total length of 45 miles. The railway was called Divush by the German-speaking minority and Mocanița by the Romanians. This loco will take the train to Burpa. It's an 080 tank built by Schwarzkopf in 1923. Narrow gauge rail traffic ended here in 2001, but there are plans to reactivate a part of the line. The train leaves Sibiu for Cornetel and Burpa at 3:57 p.m. We're not on the train. Instead, we'll try and take some line-side shots using a taxi. The wayside halt at Cassolt. Not all passengers have the patience to wait until the train has stopped. Cornetel Junction, a stop of 26 minutes. The roads in and around Cornetel, that's why the trains are so crowded. Back to the station. The train from Agnita is just arriving. The 080 was built in 1949 by the 23rd of August works in Bucharest. First, the train from Agnita leaves Cornetel for Sibiu. Then, in the background, the train which we'd followed by taxi leaves for Verpa. Blowing down the boiler on the way, and here our visit to Dibush ends. Bucharest, home of Romania's only Pacifics. They were built by Maffei and Henschel between 1913 and 1922. The driver had promised to stop before the grate is above my head. The design of these stars of the rails is from the Maffei works in Munich, and number 54 was also built there in 1922. The four cylinders are in line and are inclined in order to clear the bogie. Rather unusually for a Maffei Pacific, it's a simple expansion loco and not a compound. Departure from Bucharest Nord station, which was electrified shortly before our visit. Three-quarters of a mile outside the Nord station. The Day of the Republic. That was yesterday, but this Class 230 is still celebrating. Same spectacle the next day. The loco depot is situated slightly to the north of Nord Station. 231068 is on the turntable, part of the batch built in 1922 by Henschel. The water purifier on top of the boiler of this Skoda 260 rather spoils its appearance. Their working day has come to an end, but we feel quite at home here. The friendly personnel give us a little show. It looks as if the Bavarian-built Pacific is reluctant to be towed by a Prussian loco. Departure from Bucharest Basarab station. How I miss the splendour of Romanian steam.